Hey everyone, this is Chris from Noisewire. I'm joined today by Stephanie and MJ from the band Amulet. They just played at Absolution Fest last night. How are you guys doing today?
We are doing very much better today. We needed some rest after all that, but it was an excellent evening.
Awesome. I think I need about 5 more croissants and like another few gallons of Gatorade, and after that I'll probably be halfway good.
Nice. So let's talk about the band a little bit. I've heard that Amulet was originally it was supposed to be a concept album in 2020. That was kind of the catalyst that started the band. Can you share with us what the concept of the album was supposed to be, if it ever really did reach that, or how did that work out?
Yeah, sure. I don't know. It was just kind of an offhand comment, I guess, that led to that. So we were in a previous band. It was a cover band, and we had a rehearsal one time, and it was just clear to me, probably to you as well, it was the end of that band. Various things happened. The keyboard player didn't bring his sheet music, and it was just like the whole thing was just like, okay, I'm enough of this. I don't want to play covers any longer. You know, I love Tom Petty's music, but I don't want to play any more Tom Petty bass lines. It's great, but it's just not what I felt like I wanted to play at the time. And so I think most of the band had left, and it was just me, Stephanie, and the guitarist, Gavin. And I just said, look, I just want to write a concept album. Because I grew up with like Pink Floyd, The Wall, and that was the pinnacle of concept albums to me, in my mind anyway, at the time. So it was just like that, and I was actually listening to a lot of Bush at the time, and I like Bush's sound, still like Bush, and in my mind I was going to do something that was like a kind of melding of Pink Floyd and Bush. That was my idea, but I had no idea what the theme was going to be at all. So it was kind of an offhand comment. But it was sort of still clinging in the back of my hard drive somewhere.
Yeah, I always liked the idea of concept albums too, because I always liked Pink Floyd as well, but I was growing up with like the late 90s, like Nine Inch Nails, The Fragile type of thing. So it's like, yeah, a huge, insane 2-disc album. Yeah, we're going to do that as our first album. Yeah, but that didn't exactly turn out. But yeah, that was like, driving us to do this massive first album. So that's
in a way, like Stephanie ended up becoming the concept, because she was the goth of the duo.
That's true. You weren't.
And I wasn't really. Yeah. But it was obvious to me that musically it had to be something that would suit Stephanie's style and her vocal abilities. So that kind of became the concept, was something that would work with what I thought Stephanie would like to do as the I mean, she was going to be the vocalist, so it had to suit her. The music had to suit what she was going to do. So that kind of became the concept, really. Although I don't think we nailed it quite on the first album, because she was in Texas for most of that time, and I was in DC, and we were kind of doing it remote. But I think we still did some good stuff on that one.
Yeah, we did.
We were learning.
We figured it out. Yeah, we were learning for sure.
So let's fast forward to Catharsis. How did your time together influence the creative dynamic of writing that album, and what did you set out to accomplish with that record as a whole?
You want to start with that one?
Sure. Yes. So we learned a lot during House of Black and White. I was never a musician, and I still say I'm not, but he hates that. So I don't play any instruments or anything like that. So I just kind of intuitively do music stuff at this point. So the next album, I was kind of understanding basically how to make music in general. On the first album, I had written Last Ditch and Witchfinder. Those were my very first songs I ever wrote. And he wrote the music, but we wrote them very closely together. So finally I was like, oh, maybe I can I don't know, do more. Maybe I can figure out how to do this. So I felt a little bit more confident about that. And then we wanted to build an album that was like about another concept about our relationship, which has been like a big whole, we needed like a soap opera, but like, so it was gonna be about that, and we tried very, very hard, but we still didn't make the concept exactly. So that's how kind of we got started with Catharsis, but what happened after that?
Well, I mean, so many different things happened. But at one point, we rented a studio in Baltimore. We were going to like do the album at the studio, so we had to kind of build a recording studio in Baltimore in this space that we'd got, and we started it, and it was starting to get cool. I loved that space. Yeah. We painted it, and we had there was the recording room and everything. But it just turned out that Baltimore, like, it sounded like it was going to be great, but it was just too far. And like, it was you get up in the morning from DC, and you get up in the morning, you're like, okay, we're going to have breakfast and we're going to go and start working. But then it's like a sort of 2-hour process to get there. Not quite 2 hours, but getting on for. And at the end of the day, I think we had that for about a year.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, we just decided it wasn't going to work. But yeah. I think, didn't we have Post-it notes at one point?
We were going to.
We were going to, or we did.
We had a whole plan.
To like create this kind of massive concept of this thing. But at the end of the day, songs have their own thing. And you know, I mean, you could do that. But the discipline of sticking to like a completely pure concept gets kind of messed up in the artistic process. And somehow a song starts somewhere, but to me, it kind of takes on a life of its own. And it sort of feels a little bit hard to like really pin it down to sticking to a particular narrative always. There's always those things like, it's got to be 3 syllables and it's got to rhyme with light or, you know, whatever. And it's like, oh boy, like Stephanie wants everything. It has to mean something to her.
Yes.
And it doesn't, she's singing it, so it doesn't mean something to her. For me, it doesn't matter as much. I'm thinking like, rhythmically or like chords or whatever it is that makes it fit. And if the words don't really fully make sense, I'm like, the audience will interpret it how they want it and they'll own it instead of us. But Stephanie she's much more focused on it all has to kind of hang together with a particular meaning. And this is like the central conundrum of our writing relationship is Stephanie wanting it to mean something and me wanting it to sound good. That's basically
I want it to sound good too.
You want it to sound good, but that's my starting point, right? And your starting point, I would say, is it has to come from
that's how people connect to music a lot. Not everybody, but I feel like a lot of people do connect to the lyrics. So anyway, with Catharsis, I was trying really hard to make sure everything kind of passed that test for me, and I think that it does. So in my mind, that concept kind of still hangs. So I think it worked.
But there's some wild.
I thought it would.
There's some wild cards in there though as well.
Yeah.
They're just like things that were happening to us at the time.
Yeah.
Or things that were like, oh, this album needs like, you know, whatever it was. It needs something else, and we would create that thing that we felt, and then it just started to kind of mushroom into this enormous project. And it just like knowing when to stop is an important thing.
Yes. So that being said, what else?
We didn't know when to stop.
Though. We should have stopped. That's a very long explanation.
Way before we did.
No, that totally makes sense. So especially the idea of like you start with an idea for a song and then you start writing the song, but you don't know where it's going to go from there. And I could see how trying to stick to a specific narrative would get really burdensome. You know, like trying to make sure that you stick to whatever you started with. But on more of the music side of things, so there's an interesting split between songs on Catharsis like So Cold or Without You that are more like traditional rock instrumentation. So cold, your kiss has frozen. And then songs like Total Power Exchange or Dance with Duality that are more electronic driven, more sort of like dance floor kind of stuff. Can you walk me through how you decide which direction a song will take? Like when you decide, okay, I'm going to do something that's a little more rock heavy or leaning, and no, I'm going to go full on electronic with this sort of thing.
Yeah, sure.
So I'll start this one.
Go for it.
Because I think Catharsis, like I was saying, it's like a very big growth album for us, because we started off with this alternative rock, maybe some of it's a little goth rock, and I always wanted to be a little more industrial rock personally. So that's basically, I think, my opinions coming through. And actually it took us about 3 years to write that album, so we were learning a lot in the process. And he's a bass player, so that's always going to be like his first way, or it was his first way to like write a song. So that's basically going to be a rock song, probably. But now you've learned a lot, and like you can make beats and drums and, you know, do industrial shit. So that's sort of how I think we started doing that. And also I was like, let's make some beats. Like I want to do that. So that's us trying to like meld those two things together, and we're doing that a lot more now, like in each song. So it's industrial rock. That's what I think anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I mean, it took 3 years to complete, so we've like evolved over the 3 years. For House of Black and White, I was a bass player. What would you like me to do here?
You know.
Oh, put it close to me. Just tell me. I was a bass player, basically, originally, and so I started everything by writing a bass line, and then I would record the bass line, and then, my process is that you hum along, and then some word will pop up out of the ether. Who knows what that word is, or some combination of words. Oh, yeah, it fits there, and that goes there, and then it sort of evolves from that. But we thought to start with, we were going to have this guitarist, Gavin, was going to be playing with us. And he did some stuff, but he was working on his own project, and it was clear to me that I was going to have to play the guitar. So I kind of had to learn to play guitar. And I'm not a great guitarist, but I learned enough to be able to kind of create a song with guitar in it. And on the first album, actually, Stephanie's brother played a lot of guitar as well. He's a pro guitarist, lives in Nashville. So he played a lot of like the more shreddy leads and things like that, and I played more of the rhythm. But as time progressed, and then we started getting into Logic, and I was learning more about production, and so our starting point wasn't so limiting anymore. So instead of starting with an electric bass line, which is what I always did before, now we're starting from all over the place. And a song might start with almost anything. It could be a guitar line, it could be a synth bass, it could be vocals. So we're a little bit less limited now from our musical starting point. And I think that played a role in catharsis and evolving throughout it. On Total Power Exchange, Stephanie started. She says she's not a musician, but she came with this thing, and she had a lot of the groove. I just felt the groove needed to flow more, and I think like at one point she's like, "Hey, what are you doing to my groove?" But
it was very hard to let go of that.
But I think
I'm glad you did it.
Overall we got a harder hitting groove from that.
Yes.
And then only me, basically, Stephanie did the whole thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You showed up with like a pretty much finished song, and I just did a little bit of tinkering. Yeah. And then Weird Work was an a cappella we used to perform at the beginning of our show. We have a ritual.
Yeah.
And I felt like Weird Work needed to have its day in the sun.
Yeah.
So I figured out all the piano part for that.
So that's actually like another thing on this album. It's kind of influenced a little bit from neo-folk and stuff like that, because I like Wardruna and all those guys. So I just kind of did our version of that, and it's a little outside of the box.
Right, and we have the bones.
Yeah, we had bones on the album, so yeah, it was pretty cool.
Clanking the bones together. They're not human bones, I don't think.
Let's hope. There you go.
They're not awesome.
that might be a legal issue. I don't know if you can keep human bones around. So yeah, getting into live performance in terms of as part of the writing experience. So it's common for bands in the goth industrial realm to kind of focus primarily on studio work and then adapt their music for the stage. It feels like Amulet has always kind of been ready to play. Like the music has always kind of been primed for live performance. How does that awareness of your live performance, or is there an awareness of your live performance when you're writing songs, or do you just go in the studio and kind of let it rip and figure it out afterwards?
I'll start this. It's actually, I had to think about this. Well, we started off in only live band because it was just like a cover band, and that's always what he's done as well. And maybe we just assumed that we would be doing that. But then when we were writing our music, it was like, I have to perform this now. Like, so that kind of made me think, wow, we need to kind of write this in a way where I'm going to be able to deal with it. And I'm saying that a lot now. I'm like, you wrote this song and it has 3 different choruses. How am I supposed to remember that?
and the lyrics change throughout them, right?
Yes.
Which is fine for a studio, but not so much.
I'm finally trying to remember that when we're writing now. I'm like, let's try and make this a little easier. But then the other part of it was, I am a graphic designer and I have a degree in fashion design and all that stuff. So I just assumed that, that's part of the package. It's like that live entertainment, like, oh, look at the cool stuff that comes with the sound. So that was kind of, I guess, we didn't say, yes, we're going to be the best live band ever or anything like that, but it's part of the package. So that's kind of what I think.
Yeah, I always played in live bands.
Yeah.
So I like I said, I played bass for years in different bands, and never really recorded anything before this. So in my mind, the fun of the whole thing is playing in front of a crowd. That was mostly what I was focused on. And the album just sort of came along during COVID, really, because I know a lot of people had time during COVID and they were stuck at home. It's like, what are you going to do? So a lot of people were writing. So that was kind of applied to us as well, kind of a COVID band in that respect. Things that we have to pay attention to, I have to pay attention to, is Stephanie's range.
Yes.
And making sure that we try to hit something that's not going to be too low or too high.
We're still working on that.
Her,
live performance.
She can do it all,
especially.
But it's the amount of effort that it takes, and she has to push it out, and then it's going to be harder. And we don't want to put 2 really vocally demanding songs right next to each other, and
they all are.
All our songs are vocally demanding for
Yes,
whatever reason
that
came out that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's important to make sure that it's working for Stephanie. It's much harder, I think, to sing than it is to play an instrument. Although last night at the show, the energy was really high, and I was I played way too hard on the first couple of songs, and my hands falling off. I'm like, oh man,
gotta pace yourself.
Yeah, it's okay. And I Am the Dark is this very repetitive bass line. It's like a real hand cramper. It's not technically difficult, but it's just you've got to keep going.
Marathon.
And it's relatively, the BPM's relatively high. I'm like, oh my God, I can get through this.
Yeah.
But it's more the vocal that's the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, we figured it out. We're figuring it out still.
Yeah, and then we have designed some songs more for live performance as well.
Yes.
Mostly Dirty Heartbeat.
Dirty heartbeats, queen of the dark is a stone cold sex freak.
Which
Played Dirty Heartbeats last night.
No, but
sadly.
we adapted it for live.
Yes.
It has some audience engagement aspects to it.
Yeah, that's cool. You guys kind of touched on this a little bit, but were there any techniques or new gear between your 2 albums, between House of Black and White and Catharsis, that kind of influenced the direction that those albums took? I mean, you said a little bit you kind of moved away from just playing bass to trying other instruments. So I'm curious if with both of you, what the process looked like when you got to Catharsis after having written the first album.
Well, the gear thing is mostly for him, although I was pushing you to learn how to do the gear. So now, you can do an ARP.
Yeah. We know what ARP's
about
on.
that before. On House of Black and White, there was nothing electronic at all.
There was a tiny bit, but nothing.
Yeah,
major.
basically nothing. Go ahead. This is your field.
I mean, I don't know, not so much. I mean, you were the one who encouraged me to get into Logic.
Yeah.
And so we had a flirtation with Pro Tools and with Ableton, and I used to use Acid, which is not really designed for this. But I think when we got into Logic, that was when the floodgates of things opened up. I mean, it's just little things like you can record a guitar part and it will keep the clean version of it, but then you can start putting tones on it, but you've also got the clean one. So if you're working with a producer, you can give them the original clean one. They can add their tones to it instead of before I was recording everything through amps and pedals and stuff. And so the recording has got all the effects in it and you can't take them off it. And now you've got like all the options so much easier, and all of the different sounds and tones that you can bring in, and the plugins. Like a lot of people who do this are like obsessed with plugins. There's so many plugins, and if you buy one plugin, your Facebook feed will be filled with people trying to sell you more plugins, and they all sound really good, and say like, oh yeah, I want to try that one, and then it's another $50 or $100 each time, and then you use it on one song, you're like, it was okay, but it's not real, and so you just build up all these plugins. It's a whole thing. It like goes on, it'll go on forever. Part of the problem is now, it was like before, I think it was we were limited to the number of tones and things we had. Now the problem is it's unlimited. It's like making decisions and choices. Like, where do you go? I mean, like the number of snare sounds that you can choose from is like, there's probably thousands. I mean, it's like really an unlimited number, because you take one snare sound and then you put a little bit of an effect on it, or you double it up and put some verb on it, or whatever. There's just an unlimited number, basically. Billions of choices just for the snare. So this becomes the problem, is making choices and selecting, like I said before, like knowing when to stop. It's like, when is it good enough? Oh no, that could be just a little bit, better than. And so, yeah, I think that's become more of the problem, is not so much like, oh, we're limited. It's like it's unlimited, and therefore, like, where do you stop? And it can be very time consuming to make those final decisions as to what should be in and what should not.
Yes, but that's why we have a producer.
Right, that makes it so much easier, because he makes all those decisions. We don't have to worry about it.
So we're like carving out the sound with the producer, and like now we basically just have to sketch things when it comes to tones.
Yeah, so like everything's now changed again, because Chris is doing a lot of the decisions on tones and things like that, and we're more like writing.
Yeah.
And then turning it over to him, and he's like crafting the final product, which is so much easier.
Yes.
And he knows what he's doing, and I guess he must have great discipline in making choices. So this is good.
No, that's really interesting. So now you can just focus on writing. You don't have to worry about any of the technical minutia, because you can just give it to him, and it'll sound good. Like, and he'll keep it in line with what you're looking for.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we're trying to give him like as much that he can work with as possible. But yes, in terms of the final product, he's definitely making the decisions on that, and it's to fit it together. So the next album is tonally is going to be much more coherent, I think.
Yeah. That's really cool. Stephanie, this is more for you. I know this is your first original music project that you worked on. So how was the experience of working with MJ and writing original music? Or has the experience of working with MJ and writing original music, has it allowed you to sort of develop a creative outlet? Like, have you found a sort of, I don't want to say freedom, but like a new way to express yourself that you can appreciate that you hadn't had in the past?
Oh, yes, definitely. We touched on it a little bit. It's been a tumultuous process, but it's mostly been me figuring out what I actually need from this process. Like I said before, the first album, I had no idea what I was doing. He wrote basically everything, and I started to write a couple of sets of lyrics and some melodies.
Except you wrote like our top song.
Well,
Soul is broken. What words divine left unspoken? There's no way for you in this dark room to break through.
oops.
And you gave it to me like completely finished, like completely finished vocal, and she's like, here it is. I'm like,
Use your microphone.
This whole thing was basically finished. I don't know how you did that. And like the music for that was so easy. I mean, it was all right there.
So there, I kept like exploring that avenue, I guess. And in Catharsis, I was like, I'm going to do some more of this. I'm going to do some more of this. And as we're writing even more, we keep talking about this thing where he doesn't mind if it doesn't mean anything. But I was like, no, I have to. And I kept being like, trying to be the nice girl and say, okay, fine, whatever. But then I'm like, no, I really have to have it mean something to me. Because this is an outlet now. That's your fault. So yeah, it's definitely become an outlet to me. And I really like feeling super connected to that. Because singing is sort of like a spiritual process, especially when you connect with people on that level. There's nothing like it. So I don't want to sing about something I don't like or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, definitely.
What about the difficult songs though? Because I talked about like Last Ditch, and it was finished, and it was just like the music was very easy to put to those vocals. But we had songs that were pain in the butt.
Oh. Yeah.
You know, the ones that you can never finish. It's like we know it's good, but we just can't quite get it how we want it.
Well, sometimes you just have to keep working on it, and it'll come out. Like we wanted to reiterate songs like 5 times, but you can feel there's a seed of something in there. You just have to put it away for a while. But yeah, that happens.
Dirty Hard Beats went through so many iterations. That was probably.
Actually, this is how we learned that he needed to sing. Because I did Dirty Hard Beats, or it was called something else, and I was like, this is just not me. I don't feel good singing like straight industrial like that. I mean, at least in that song. Maybe we've done some other things that I would call more industrial.
Yeah.
But in that song, I was like, this just doesn't fit me, and I don't like it. I'm like, you sing it. And he was like, what? Yeah, so it worked out really well, though.
Yeah, but on the remix of it for Purification on the current EP, you sing that.
Oh,
version
yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
And I think it works pretty well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
It's
true.
got it's got a little extra spice to it.
It's true. It's spicy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
So, in terms of remixes, actually, I'd read that you guys were a little nervous at first with having other people interpret your work or reinterpret your work, but you were pleasantly surprised by some results that you'd seen early on. So, how has that encouraged you to lean more into collaboration? And are there any collaborations you have on the horizon that you can talk about or that you're excited about?
Yeah. Well, I think it was my reticence to do the remix, not so much Stephanie's, probably because I sort of come from a different musical background and there aren't so many remixes in that. But Eric from Unitcode Machine, Stephanie knew him from the Dallas scene, and he offered to do this remix for us. And I was a little bit nervous about it. I just didn't know what it was going to be like. But we talked to Eric, and he was very reassuring. He's a very nice guy. And I'm like, okay, let's give it a spin. And he came back with this remix, and it was absolutely great.
Please tell me what to do. It's all so sudden and so new. I'm losing myself. I'm so into you. Another big decision.
And I'm like, wow, this is fun. Like, I didn't have to do any work for a start, and it comes back and it sounds really good. So at that point, I'm like, okay, let's do loads of these then. And not worry about it at all. And then at some point, I used to want to play everything for some reason. I don't know. Maybe like for being like insecure about my musical ability or something. I didn't want other people playing our stuff and then they'd be better than me, I guess, or something. I don't know what it was. Like there's some kind of grain of like emotion and like, I'm not comfortable with that. But then after that, I was like, I don't really care anymore. I've played enough parts on our albums that I don't care anymore. Like, it's like, let's make it about the song and creating the song. And it doesn't matter if somebody else plays bass or somebody else plays guitar. We're trying to create a song here that's going to work. So on Catharsis, like James Scott played bass on So Cold, actually. Oh, yeah. And then and Bob played some guitar as well.
Bob, our guitarist.
Yeah,
Yep.
Bob Carr.
Yep.
Who played with us last night. So yeah, it's more freeing. It's like instead of like feeling you have to do everything yourself, it's like it's a musical project in which we have collaborators, and if we can't do one thing, if we need a saxophone player, we're not going to learn to play saxophone. Let's find somebody who plays saxophone, bring them in. If we need somebody, and it changes the dynamic and it makes collaboration, and collaboration's fun. And when you bring people in who are good at what they do and it enhances the song, that's what you want to do. Instead of getting hung up on like, oh my goodness, it's my music. Oh, what's going to happen to it? Yeah. So I think Eric was the one who kind of opened that. He like took his finger out of the dike. And then after that, like it's been all, it's been good.
You scared the shit out of him.
I hope
Eric,
not.
don't worry. He's not from the scene. He doesn't understand the remix culture. But I was so glad that we got to have remixes because it kind of it showed us like what kind of music that we've learned so much from the remixes that we've had.
And just give a shout out to Eric, because he
Eric.
played an important part in our band.
He did,
because he introduced us to Chris Hall.
Yes.
And he did our first remix.
He did.
And he did a great job on it.
I know.
And his music is great, and he should have a lot more listeners.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, at least now we're playing together at Dark Forest
Fest,
so,
yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. He probably doesn't understand the role he played exactly in
I'm sure he does, but
our psychic development, but he did.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah.
So we do have an album or an EP coming out with some more collabs. It's coming out on November 28th. And it has 3 remixes from other artists, Interface, Synthetic Dream Foundation, and Tragic Impulse. And what else do we have coming up?
Well, as the dark is the thing we're working on right now.
I'm not sure if we would call it a collaboration because Chris Hall's our producer, but I would call it a collaboration. He's not in this unit.
It's a collaboration. It's a collaboration.
Yeah, it's a collaboration.
Yeah.
So those are our upcoming collaborations, and I'm super excited about that. I feel like the sound is definitely evolving in a nice way.
Yeah, the album with Chris is quite well along now. We've got like 5 out of 7 tracks done, and the other 2 tracks we're ready to give to Chris.
Yep.
We had the one pesky track again, The Darkness, which boy. But I think we finally got it to a point where we can give it to Chris. It's ready to do something with.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a weird track, but it's a bit less weird now than it was before.
Now you got me curious to listen to it, so I'll be looking for that to come out.
Yeah.
So you guys are currently releasing music with Distortion Productions out of Pittsburgh, where we're from. How did you guys link up with Jim, and what has that partnership meant for you guys?
Dark Forest. Actually, what was it? Dark Side of the Con at the time.
It was still called that, yeah.
Yeah, Dark Side of the Con. And Jim was playing with Red Locust, and we were both like, wow, man, that was a fucking awesome show. So
yeah, Jim, I know, he really puts a lot of effort into his live performance. And we saw a lot of bands, and I just felt like Jim's, like the way he just delivered his vocal performance deserved a bit of a shout out, because I felt like he was really feeling it. And that, you get it in the audience. If somebody's just dialing it in, maybe they're not really dialing it in, but they seem like they are, versus somebody who's really like living every word of the vocal. And Jim, I thought, did a great job on that. And so he had a stand. And
the distortion table.
Yeah.
We didn't even know about
We didn't know anything about that. And I just
anything.
recognized him, and I said, I saw you playing. I thought you were great, and then we got chatting. And it turned out he had a record label, and we're like, oh, really? Well, we got a band, so maybe that'll work out. And turns out it did.
Yeah, he's like, I'm interested. And so we went to work hard on a demo, and we got it, and he was like, okay,
yeah, we sent him a demo, and then none of the songs on the demo were actually on the album.
They're coming out eventually.
Actually, well, 1 or 2 were, right? Maybe 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's been awesome because he's like, the king of the scene. Like, he knows everybody. He has this fucking amazing project with Electronic Saviors, which we were on ES7. And it's just been nice to like really connect with everybody, and he has just like hands everywhere. So.
Yeah, he's like a national treasure.
Yes.
Is Jim.
Yes,
really.
The blonde national treasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. He's been real supportive of us, and we're real supportive of him. So I thought it was really cool that you guys are getting to work with him, and I've heard nothing but great things about him as a label owner, as a businessman or whatnot.
He's a very nice person.
Yeah. Let's talk about your live band. So how did you find the people that are playing live with you? I know last night you had a guitar player. I believe your drummer's injured. But would you mind sharing?
We didn't do it. It wasn't us.
Would you guys mind just sharing how you found these people and how you knew they would like be a good fit for the band?
This is definitely all you.
Well, we had a band with House of Black and White, which is more rock focused. But as things evolved, it was sort of clear that it was like we had 6 people or something. Mm-hmm. It was just like a little bit much, and it wasn't really the right combination of instrumentation. But Bob Carr, who played with us last night, has been with us throughout ever since we started doing live performance, playing guitar. But Bob does a lot more than that. He is very tech savvy, and like I'm terrible with that stuff, and he's probably really frustrated with me, but I'm learning. But I can just sort of just about plug my bass in and make sure like it's tuned. But he knows like everything else, connecting to the PA, and he's got all the tech and like the Wi-Fi and the in-ears stuff. I mean, we kind of learned from him how to do all of that. So he does all of that. And we just sort of show up and play mostly. So he's great. He's really good musically. He's got other projects that he does. He's good at production. He knows Ableton, like the whole thing. He's like totally first rate on all of that stuff. You don't really notice all of that behind the scenes, but he's really important in the whole band. Without Bob, the live performance would not happen.
Yeah, and he's actually like from the scene. So he's been in the scene since the 90s, and I thought that was super important because he really gets it. He gets the music, he gets the scene. The other people didn't really click with that. So I thought that was super important.
Yeah, and musically we work really well together as well.
Yeah.
We can communicate, and he's really open, and like for recording, he'll, work with us and give us some options, and then he's not like the kind of person who's, well, you have to use what I did. It's like he's flexible on that, and you have to be, because like when people give you stuff, if you're doing a recording project, and if it doesn't fit or it doesn't feel like it fits, the song has to be the master. It can't be the musicians that are the master, because just to satisfy somebody's ego of doing a guitar solo that doesn't fit with a song. And you don't want to have to like be walking on eggshells with people saying, I'm sorry, it's just not fitting. He's really cool with that, which is super important. We have to be cool with that as well, with like these remixes and other things. You have to like serve the song, and he's been great with that. Steve is our drummer now. He's done 3 shows with us.
Yep.
Unfortunately, he broke a rib. So he is currently recuperating from that, but we're hoping he's going to be back with us for the Louisville show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just fit in really well. And he's super cool. He's like really good at like everything. He's just like not the kind of person who's going to cause drama or like be problematic. He just slots in. And this is like what you want from band members. Is like show up on time, play your parts, be cool. If you have band members who are like that, and we try to be like that ourselves, this is the best bet. And so Bob and Steve just like really fit. And I'm really pleased. I think we finally got our best lineup.
Yes. We definitely missed him last night, though.
Yeah, because I mean, he brings really good energy. He's a really nice person, and also like being able to play with the track and augmenting the track rather than feeling like you're being replaced by the track. It's like you have to work around the track, and there's certain like percussive elements in the track you don't want to drop out, even if they're being played with live drums. So that's a skill, working with a click and working with a drum track, but also adding to it without like getting it to be too much. And he's done a really good job on that. So yeah, we're super pleased.
Yeah.
Like, hoping that this lineup now settles and stays, because you don't lineup changes. It's just
but it must be exhausting. Like disruptive. You got somebody else to relearn everything.
Yeah.
So you talked a little bit about this already, but what's planned for the future? You guys have a new album you're working on, it sounds like.
Yes, it is called The Dark. It's probably going to have, I think, a total of 9 tracks, actually. We'll see. That's working. And that's going to be produced by Chris Hall of Stabbing Westward.
2 are like kind of orchestral versions of the others, right?
Yeah. So it's 7 original new tracks and then orchestral versions of 2. Probably. We haven't finished it yet. But yeah, so it's actually going to be a departure for us to have an actual short album.
Yes,
but
definitely.
it will be great. So that is the biggest thing that is like officially we're working on. Don't know exactly when it's coming out yet, but hopefully maybe later next year. That'll be the big thing. And then we do have Purification, our remix EP, which is coming out on November 28th.
There's also one single's already out, right?
Yes, we have So-Called Rising Phoenix, That's already out. And then so-called Frozen Phoenix is coming out on the 17th of October. So
Yeah.
There is no love, there is no fate, it's just illusion. Only heartbreaking pain. In the end, it's all the same.
They're just
Yeah.
remixes that we did. Oh,
I think they're completely redone.
Well,
they
yeah,
are
I mean,
completely
there's
redone.
very little of the original track in them. There's one guitar part.
Yeah, and
survived.
I re-sang everything.
Everything else, the tempos
They're
are
really
different.
new
Yeah,
songs.
they're new songs, basically.
Anyway, yeah, that's coming out this month. And what else? I'm working on this movement called Girl Industrial. So that's kind of like my side project. But every time that we have something that I feel like slots into what I call Girl Industrial, I'm going to like hashtag the hell out of it. So that's what I'm doing. So I'll just explain. Girl Industrial, I'm calling goth industrial music that has a female vocal. However, it's got to be melodic and vocal forward, which I feel like is pretty unique in the scene. And there's lots of amazing female vocalists that don't necessarily slot into that, and that's awesome. But this is specifically about that vocal forward melodic stuff that I just don't see that much of. So we do have the Girl Industrial Spotify playlist, and we're kind of getting it going. And I'm actually going to make like a suggestion box for people because we're getting a lot of good ideas from people I've never even heard of. And it's cool. I think people are really liking it. So that's kind of my side project
Yeah.
in this.
But we also have like a bunch of future side projects.
Of course.
that are in different genres, right?
Yeah.
So we have like a whole like jazz lounge
Yes.
genre.
We do have one song out that is a lounge song called Secrets and Lies. And that's like no one's ever heard it.
Yeah, it
'Cause
doesn't have
it's
many
so
streams,
random.
but it's real. It's a great song.
It's good. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
like lounge. But yeah, we just like dabbling in stuff, which is actually kind of tricky when we're trying to make our sound like cohesive.
Yeah. It's like a Jessica
Yeah.
Rabbit sort of song.
Yes, that one is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got a bunch of ideas on the jazz
Yeah.
front.
So, but I think that after the Dark, the next album, we're going to be working on this album. I think we're going to call it 13 Dolls. And it is it is another concept album. The concept is like 13 different parts of my personality, like the different dolls inside
I've been making
me.
a list.
Yes, we've been like
It's actually it's way more than 13. It's
Yeah.
not that she's like, schizophrenic or anything. But definitely everybody's complex, right? So
yes, it's
we're-
all the facets of me.
facets.
Yes,
Yes,
I'm a
that's right.
diamond, not a psychotic person.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what we have coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're working on one song called Broken Doll, which is like
Yeah.
that's probably like the theme song of.
Oh, we do have
think
one
those-
more thing. We are working on a single that's completely standalone single.
Kind of industrial.
It's definitely industrial, called Sex and Drugs and BDSM. So it's this one we made for the dance floor, and it's going to be fun to perform.
It's one of those ones that'll be going on
Yeah.
forever until we get to the point. We need Chris to help us finish it.
Yeah.
Get it across
So-
the finish line.
So we're working on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Well, thank you guys for sitting down with us for a little while. It was really good to see you guys last night at Absolution Fest, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll get to talk again sometime soon.
That's great. Thank you. And Dark Force Fest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See you at Dark Force Fest.
Sounds good.
Yeah.